Hello learners and welcome. Now, when you hear the word chemistry, what do you picture? Maybe a scientist in a big lab with a white coat. Well, today, we're going to see that you don't really need a lab coat to be a chemist. In fact, we're about to find chemistry right inside our very own homes, starting in the kitchen.
So, let me ask you a question. Just think about the food in your kitchen, or even the soap you use to wash your hands. Do you think there's chemistry in there? Well, the answer is a big yes. And today, we're going to go on a little journey through the house to find it all.
All right, our very first stop is the kitchen. It's where we keep all our food, right? And inside our food, we can find some really common chemicals that scientists call acids. Now, here's a little clue to help us find them. They often have a sour taste.
Think about the last time you tasted a lemon, or maybe a very sour orange. You know that sharp, sour taste that makes your whole face scrunch up? Yeah, that one. Well, that taste comes from something called citric acid. It's a type of weak acid, and that's exactly why it's perfectly safe for us to eat.
Okay, what about vinegar? Maybe your family uses it to make a salad or some kachumbari, that really sharp smell and taste? That comes from another weak acid, and this one is called acetic acid. So you see, the next time you taste that tang, you can tell everyone, hey, that's chemistry. And here is one more you definitely know. Sour milk, or as we call it, maziwa. When milk gets sour, it actually develops a weak acid called lactic acid. Now, the really important thing to remember is that all these acids in our food, the citric, the acetic, and the lactic, they're all weak, which is what makes them safe for us to eat in small amounts. Okay, so we found acids in our food. That was fun. Now, let's leave the kitchen for a bit and go look for their chemical opposites. These are called bases, and we usually find them where we do all our cleaning.
So what's the real difference between acids and bases? Well, we just learned that acids, which we find in our food, often taste sour. Bases, on the other hand, are pretty different. We find them in cleaning products, and instead of a sour taste, they often feel kind of slippery or soapy when you touch them.
So what are some of these bases? Well, soap is a fantastic example. It has something called alkalis, which are a type of base, and they're really good at getting rid of grease and oil. And what about baking soda? It can be used for baking cakes or even for cleaning. It's also a weak base. And of course, the washing powder we use for our clothes has alkaline substances that are tough on dirt. Now, we've found all these chemicals in our food and our cleaning supplies. It's pretty cool, right? But we have to stop for just a moment to talk about something that is very important, and that is safety. This is probably the most important thing to remember today. Even though these acids and bases are all around us and are super useful, they can be harmful if you misuse them. Just because something is in your house, that does not mean it's a toy. We have to always handle them with care.
All right, that was quite a bit of information, wasn't it? Before we finish up, let's do a super quick check to see what you remember from our little chemistry tour of the house. You ready?
Okay, here's the question. Name one acid that we can find in food. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Got one? Maybe you thought of citric acid from lemons, or acetic acid from vinegar, or even lactic acid from sour milk. If you said any of those, you are absolutely correct. Well done.
So there you have it. We've discovered that our homes are actually full of chemistry. We found those sour acids in the kitchen and the slickery bases for cleaning. We learned they're useful, but most importantly, that we must always be careful. In our next lesson, we are going to learn exactly how to be safe with these chemicals. Thank you so much for joining me today.